You can correct me. Go
Well, you're
ahead.
right. Trauma doesn't know time. It absolutely doesn't know time. It thinks that at any given moment, that upsetting, hurtful, or dangerous occurrence could happen again. And it's always looking for that. That's what our hypervigilance is. That
Right.
hypervigilance is sight, sound, looking for that next bad moment to pop up again. And that's exhausting. So,
So a person needs to understand that just because time has passed, it doesn't mean that the trauma has been addressed.
exactly right. Exactly right. I'm learning that it actually physically needs to come out of our body. What's beautiful is that our body is giving us messages all day long. Tightening of the shoulders, stomach dropping. I have a client, their nose gets itchy.
Wow.
So these very specific smoke signals, right? And if we don't take the time to check in with our body, then we don't recognize the little alarms it's giving us.
Right. I'm gonna turn to the screen here for a second. I'm gonna look over at this one. Bigger. I'm blind, so I have to go over here. So we're looking at Carrie mentions carrying trauma is very real, and Priscilla highlights that all the uncertainties, we all feel it. Is that what you've come to notice in dealing with individuals, clients?
Yes. And I think that the beautiful thing is because there's so much information out there now, people are starting to recognize, oh, this memory that I've just been repressing or telling myself it wasn't that big of a deal, I think it's staying with me, and I think it's affecting how I deal with a coworker, how I drive in traffic, maybe how I view my body and my self-image. They're starting to make connections that a past hurt that you haven't healed is showing up for you today and getting in the way of full joy and ease. And that is the connection that's so beautiful for clients to see. We're not just healing that past trauma, we're giving you some joy and ease to really be present and take advantage of everything that life's giving you today.
So we're not talking about it just being that just our shoulders are up toward our ears, then we got knots in our back or in our shoulder, or we're feeling aches and pains. We're talking about our lifestyle can be affected. The very way we drive a car, how we eat our food, the way we interact in our personal and interpersonal relationships are all affected if we have not, per se, dealt with that situation, circumstance, or the way we've been treated in a trauma situation. And all trauma is not the same, just like all regulation of it or getting it out of our body is going to be the same for everybody, is what you're saying.
That's right. And I think when you start to make the connections, you'll see, trauma triggers. That's what I asked everybody yesterday. What's your trauma trigger? Really what I mean by that is, have you been able to make the connection between some past hurt and how it's getting in the way of your success and full life functioning today? That's what I think a trauma trigger is. And physically affecting you, we know it affects your immune system. We know it affects high blood pressure. Yes, it physically affects your body, but it also prevents you from having emotional intimacy and healthy relationships. The number one thing it gets in the way of, motivation. Procrastination, I don't believe in lazy. No one's lazy. No one is just unmotivated. They're depressed or they're trying to avoid pain. Procrastination is trying to avoid a painful, embarrassing, or hurtful moment, and your body freezes up. Or you avoid it.
So that moment could be, it could be just the fear of failure or letting someone down. It could be the fear that somebody fails and they will get abandonment, that by not accomplishing something, that they could be abandoned. Abandonment could be the issue. There, a number of things could come into play, is what you're saying, from your perspective. I'm going to turn back to the screen because stuff is happening over here. So I got to read it to you. Let's see here. Everybody, feel free. If some of you are new here, I should have said this earlier. Feel free to put in a first name or a fake name or whatever if you want to be called Rango, or if you want to be called Taco, whatever you want to, Gumby, whatever you want to do, whatever makes you feel emotionally safe. That way I don't have to read each Instagram name. but I'm going to go with, I'm just going to say your sister. Your sister says this, nothing good comes of brushing things off or comparing. All feelings are valid and real. Your
That's right.
thoughts?
That's right. Well, that's my sister
By
who.
the way, thank you, Jillian. I see it. And so everybody, feel free if you're comfortable with giving your real name or fake. It doesn't, nobody here is going to really know unless they know you. But thank you, Jillian. I appreciate it. Go ahead. You were going to say,
Well, that's my sister who has her master's degree in this field as well, and
okay.
has raised a toddler and an infant during this pandemic.
And
And
again, why are you on the show then? No, I'm just kidding.
she's next.
I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
She's a lot
I had
funnier
to
than
stick
me
that.
too.
I had to stick that in there. Okay, stop laughing,
Love her.
Jillian. I was just joking. I love your sister. She's great. And if I can get her husband on here, that'd be even better. So,
Yep. So she's she knows the deal. But I
so
think
then, I just have to ask this before you answer. Is she also in California?
no, she's back in Connecticut.
Okay, because we could just make this a three-tier panel of you, and I'm just gonna call the man in your life the beard.
Yeah.
You the beard, and Jillian.
The
I just
tattoo
have a show
Buddhist.
called that. Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, go ahead. Go
And now
ahead.
I have someone else who can join us. My
Oh,
stepdaughter
jeez.
from
Oh,
my first marriage
what,
is
what, do-
on
what do
here.
you what do you got going on here?
My
Which one is she? Priscilla? Okay,
Priscilla,
that's what I
my
should have known.
beautiful
Okay.
stepdaughter from my
All right.
first marriage, and she's due with her beautiful baby any day now. So
Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for enduring that. I'm sorry, that was just kind of like behind the scenes talk we're doing right here in front of
was.
everybody. But hey, it's free TV, everybody. Okay. So your thoughts on
But I
dealing with
think
stuff being swept under the rug and people's feelings being brushed off, which is totally rude, but go ahead.
so that repression, right, is what we're talking about, and what goes in must come out. Now, how's it going to come out? If you are repressing and avoiding and not dealing with a past hurt and a trauma, it might come out in the form of overworking, overeating, uh, unhealthy relationships. It's going to come out in some way. It needs an outlet. And what I'm seeing in therapy with my clients is when the body and brain knows that it has a safe outlet, it will release the memory and the trauma in the order that it knows it can. You can trust that your body and brain are talking all day long to each other. There's a big old nerve back here called the vagus nerve, and it's connected to every organ in your body. So your body and brain are speaking to each other all day long. And when it gets a safe outlet, it actually will release memories and physically release trauma when it knows it has that safe space to come out.
When it comes to this aspect of our emotions and dealing with them, this is something also very important for our young people to learn, so that they're able to begin a generation of learning how to cope with trauma and not holding it hostage, the trauma, and acting like everything is fine. I have to turn to Ann Crosby. Ann Crosby here on the screen, she's highlighted something. She says, if you have done a lot of inner healing work, she says, on yourself, can you still have triggers? And then because she's a wonderful woman, she says, thank you.
Oh,
So she says, so
thank you in advance.
Anne is the best, and you're so sweet. Okay, so your thoughts on that?
So one of the things that I do in my group workshops and individual clients is inner child meditations and inner child work. And it's a beautiful process. And at times it's highly emotional. But what you're doing is your present self, your present soul, is going to go back and grab a hold of the hurt child and comfort them and give them the security that they're going to make it through that moment. And it is impactful, to say the least. And what you're doing is you're telling your brain that that moment is not this moment. You're proving to your body and your brain that that trauma can stay in that moment and it doesn't have to carry through to your adult life. This moment is not that moment. Your brain and your body needs that constant reminder. So yeah, so inner child work is really, really beneficial to trauma. Now, can you still have triggers? Sure. what I believe and what I've seen is that with trauma, it may always be a part of you, but you're going to see it coming. You're going to acknowledge it. It's going to bounce across you, and then it's going to move on. When you're healing trauma, that's the impact it has. When you haven't healed trauma, it comes, it lands, it is heavy on your chest, and it takes days and hours to pull it off of you.
If not longer than that for some, maybe.
Yes, for sure.
Because I have to get to, Anne has highlighted a couple of other things. I'm just going to say this. She says you have to look after the inner child. She's agreeing with you. And she also says, can the trauma affect you while you are asleep? I am having a lot of nightmares, she highlights.
Yeah, so one of the most common side effects for trauma is flashbacks, right? Or nightmares. And rumination, which means kind of constantly thinking about the moment over and over again. That can happen in your waking hours or at bedtime. So two kind of practical things you can do is you can take a B complex vitamin and a green tea called L-theanine. And I know green tea is associated with caffeine, but this one specifically helps calm the body down, and it's been shown to help with nightmares. So L-theanine, green tea, and B complex vitamin. That's kind of the practical stuff you put in place.
Yeah.
But then there's lots of journaling and meditative work that you can do to acknowledge the nightmare. That's your body and brain saying, you've been ignoring us. So guess what? When you're asleep, I get to choose what I want to play out. So we don't ignore it. We journal about it. We draw it out. We do some expressive art therapy with it. And we stop the power that it has on us simply by acknowledging it.
When we come to the point of looking for ways to get the trauma out, work it out, because the trauma essentially wants to do that. It was only beneficial for that given moment, and it now wants to move on and not stay in a state of hypervigilance. But a person can live their life or have a lifestyle of hypervigilance and not even recognize that they are hypervigilant, but others around them, and even in their intimate relationships, will go like, something's wrong with you. Let's say it's me living out that way in hypervigilance. I'm going to be carrying that out in many different ways so that I don't have to deal with the trauma. And it could be a number of things that you've already mentioned. But off the top of your head, you already highlighted a couple of things that I hope you will mention in the comments when the show is done, and type in the comments for this show. You mentioned the tea. You mentioned a number of different things. Can you, off the top of your head, one or two things that you could mention as tips? But maybe you could put more tips when the show is done in the comments. But mention a couple of tips just off the top of your head that may work for some people when it comes to this trauma resurfacing and showing itself because it wants to get out.
Right, absolutely. So I always thought mindfulness meant I'm going to sit outside in this position and meditate for an hour and be connected. A butterfly is going to land on my shoulder, right? And
man, you're cool. You can get a butterfly. I love butterflies. Okay, go ahead.
And go to some other spirit world. And listen, for some people who are real disciplined in meditation, they might be able to get to that. I have a difficult time with meditation. So for me, what mindfulness means is connecting with your body so that it can send different messages to your brain. So all throughout the day, you can grab a minute here, 3 minutes here. We are busy. We are overwhelmed. It doesn't take that much to send a message to your brain that right now you're okay, that right now you are safe. That is a beautiful way to start healing your trauma. We want it to recognize that, yes, there's times you have to be aware of your surroundings and, oh, I don't know that route to that new restaurant. I want to be a little safe. The weather's not so good. Oh, that person looks a little bit scary. Yes, we want our guard up at times for short periods throughout the day, not all day long. That's exhausting. So we want grounding exercises, which literally tells our body and our brain, this is where we're at right now, right here, right now. We're okay. And we want mindfulness present moments to say, I am not in that past moment. I am here right now, and right now is okay and safe. So I'm going to give you guys a quick exercise, and I hope everyone will do it with us right now.
Go ahead.
But what we want to remind the body and the brain is that we are not in the past. That coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? If only I had done things differently, it wouldn't have happened. Trauma spends a lot of time in the past trying to figure out how it could have prevented that bad moment from happening, right?
Okay.
And it spends a lot of time in the future. What if worries. Every time you have a what if thought or statement, you're actually firing up this part of your brain, the amygdala. That is your fight or flight. Just thinking what if worrisome thoughts gets that part of the brain really pumping. We want that part of our brain quiet unless there's a real danger. So this exercise does two things. It gives your brain a job to do, and it's giving you that present moment. Okay, so everyone's going to do it with me together? Yeah?
Yep, everybody's going to do it. You know what? You know what? I've got cameras on everybody, and anybody that doesn't.
They're not participating.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so when we breathe, we always inhale through our nose, kind of like a snore. And we exhale out the mouth. And we always want to exhale longer than we inhale. The exhale is what actually calms down our nervous system. So we're going to inhale for 4.
Okay, everybody, here we go. 5 Mississippis. Let's go now, everybody. No, okay, go ahead.
All right, so we're going to inhale for 4. Exhale for 5. Okay, now look around your room and name 5 colors. Just to yourself, or you can put them in the chat. Go ahead, name 5 colors, find them.
Done.
Okay. All right, inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Okay, I want you to go again, find the 5 colors, name them in the same order. Go. Okay, got them? All right, last time. Inhale through the nose. Good, exhale out the mouth. Strong push out. Really exhale out. I didn't see you exhale very strong.
Oh, I did. If you were here, you would know. The chair moved.
Okay, good. So what we did is...
Wait a minute. I'm still lightheaded. Go ahead. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Take a minute. Take a minute.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
What we did is we gave our brain a job. It doesn't really matter if you name the colors in order, but your brain thinks it's a really important job. So it might stop some of the anxious rumination, the right side of the brain, all those feelings. I'm going to text him back and say this, right? We're going to give it some time to maybe spend a little bit of energy on the left side, which is time, order, sequence. Name those 5 colors in order. Doesn't matter if you really do or not. So that's the first thing you've done, is you've kind of evened out the emotional side and the practical side, and got yourself into a little bit of like homeostasis, right? That nice kind of neutral state. And with the breathing, the inhaling and the exhaling, you're calming down your nervous system. And this is a great reminder for your brain and your body that right now you are okay. Right now you are safe.
You know, you've made such an impact that that it's been said, and I'll read it from the screen. This will be a good practice for labor.
Yes.
And I think we know who that came from.
Yes.
That was Priscilla. I really appreciate you doing that. It really is very beneficial for everyone to be able to see it and practice it in real time. I have to turn to the screen again. I really appreciate you doing that. It means a lot to be able to have you do that. I love when my guests come on and do practical exercises with everybody. It means a lot to the audience. I'm going to read something to you, and then you can take it from there. Um, Anne, I'm going to go back to Anne again. Everyone, thank you for being here, and being encouraging. Anne mentions that she says, I do have 2 anniversaries this month. And then she says, thank you for the advice on the T. The loss of my son and husband this month. So with that in mind, that's why it becomes very important uh, that I wanted to do shows like this and the shows that we do. But since you're here with us, what are some points that when it comes to grief, the trauma of grief, that individuals can keep in mind, including Anne?
Yeah, yeah. And thank you, Anne, for sharing. And my heart is with you. I can't imagine that level of pain, but I have had clients work through that level of pain. Now, what we know is that you might push through the day and just get through it, but your body remembers that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you have to acknowledge it. You can't fight it. I've had clients honor those dates in new ways. I've had clients honor whether it's a miscarriage or a death or a divorce, instead of trying to avoid it because it's so painful, honoring it in a new way. And so whether that's gathering really supportive friends and sharing stories about these beautiful people, or pulling out a shirt and putting it in a picture frame, and not hiding away from the grief, because it is going to knock. It says what resists persists, meaning if we're resisting hurt and a painful moment, it is going to knock louder. So we know now that the amygdala, remember that part of your brain that's real agitated, fight or flight? We know now that just naming a feeling calms down the amygdala. So you literally just saying in those moments, I'm hurting. I'm grieving my son. This is painful. Even just saying it to yourself, your brain is going to go, oh, you hear me. Oh, okay. I might quiet down for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, surrounding yourself with supportive family and friends, and coping skills. Coping skills, they work. They work. We do have to dig out the trauma, but those coping skills work. And that can look like sunlight. That is the biggest one. Even if you just sit outside for 5 minutes, let that sunlight and vitamin D hit you. It helps with depression. Probiotics have been shown that gut health, literally you hold stress in your stomach. So if you have healthy digestive system, that helps depression.
Mm-hmm.
So you can look up dopamine, and dopamine is the hormone and the chemical messenger that fights depression. And so a lot of times I'll build up dopamine tools with my clients, and just increasing things that are going to increase dopamine will help you on those more difficult moments, but acknowledging it, and not sitting and hiding in the pain, asking for help and telling your brain and your body, I hear you.
One of the most challenging things for a lot of individuals, since doing this show, we've come to find out, is being able to have someone who understands them. A lot of people may hear them. That can be challenging too, to get someone to listen to you when you're going through something. But many people often feel that they're not understood. Their emotions are not understood. The very things that they're feeling in a given moment are not understood. But I'm going to ask you to take a moment. You didn't see this question coming, but here we go. I saved it just for you. I was going to use it on somebody else, but you're the one I'm going to give it to. This is your question now. I almost used it yesterday with somebody, but I'm going to use it for you. I saved it for you. Do me a huge favor. Let the audience that's here know that you understand their feeling. because many people want to be understood in regards to their feelings, but often people don't understand how their feelings work.
Yeah.
So it's one thing for you and I to put on a show and we understand that people are feeling things, but I'm asking you to help people understand their feeling
Hmm.
and what they mean and what they often sometimes don't mean.
Right. Right.
All yours, Amy. Go ahead.
Well, I like to say I'm a late bloomer in all of this because I had a pretty full, sometimes chaotic life before I got my master's degree in counseling psychology. And I now have all my hours to be fully licensed as an LMFT. So I didn't have many healthy coping skills for quite some time, almost right up until I graduated. I was learning
That
a
that
lot, but I
makes
wasn't applying it.
that makes this question even better for you. Perfect. I am so glad I waited. Okay, go
Yes.
ahead.
So I like to joke that I'm maybe about 3 months ahead of my clients at any given
Oh,
time.
hey, hey, long as you're not behind them, you're okay.
Right.
Uh,
So I'm in the trenches with you guys. I mean, I really believe that. And when I'm with my clients, I'm on a journey together. I will ask them a question and I'll say, I don't know the answer, just so you know. I'm just asking. We're going to figure it out together. We're going to figure
it
it out
sounds like my whole show. I was like,
together.
uh, uh,
So I do believe that all of the things that I experienced before I decided to be on this path served me really well. They served me in my personal life. They served me with my clients. But one thing that I hear from my clients that I love is, oh my gosh, you never judge me. You're never surprised by anything I say. And I think, well, they don't realize that, like, I used to be a bartender and deal with like some pretty tough customers, I mean,
you
lots of tattoos, let's just say that, so
you went from being a bartender to now you're a counselor. You're from a bartender to
bartender, actress, producer, uh, substitute teacher, mommy therapist is the very long journey here. So
oh man. Okay, so if anybody reaches out to anybody reaches out to Amy, you're getting the entire complete package.
a
You're getting
long adventurous
from to,
life before I decided
from
to
tot
start taking
from
care of
yeah,
myself.
okay. From
Yeah.
toddler to troublemaker, she can handle them all. So
Yeah.
you just okay, go ahead. You were gonna say
So
when it comes to understanding people understanding what feelings are and what they do,
I
not just where they come from,
think,
but what they actually can do for us.
yeah.
Go ahead.
And I think the shifts that I've made personally, the relief and joy and ease that I never thought was possible. I really didn't think that people sat through a couple moments or even a full day without really intrusive, worrisome thoughts. I didn't know that that was possible. And so the shifts that I've made, the changes that I've made, the tools that I've put into place, all of the therapy and tools that I gave you guys, I've done. It was painful, it was difficult. I still do it. I still practice EMDR with myself as well as with my clients, which is a wonderful tool for trauma. Um, I practice my mindfulness with my partner who has been, learning and teaching Buddhism for 20 years. I've decided to take out caffeine and alcohol and drugs from my life. There's lots of significant changes that I've made. And now I see, oh my goodness, there's large pockets of relief possible.
Hmm.
And so when I see my clients on this journey, it's okay for me to see them go through really difficult moments because I know if they stick with it, they're going to see the benefits. Now, if they're not ready and, they don't contact me for a few months or I never hear from them again, that's okay. In their own time, in their own way. I know that if they stick with it, they're going to see the benefits no matter how painful their history is. So I just really enjoy the journey along with you guys. But I do want to say, as far as the someone else knowing and acknowledging your experience, group therapy is one of the biggest, most beautiful ways for trauma to be healed. They have shown that just another person saying what you've experienced, that level of validation and understanding is really, really healing for trauma.
Mm.
So I just ended a year-long group. We were meeting every Thursday night, and we did a lot of education on trauma. We did a lot of mindfulness. Most of them came and joined me over for individual sessions, and some are still with me and are doing incredible trauma work. But I do have a new group starting 2 weeks from today. So
Oh,
you can go
okay.
to my bio on Instagram. It's the Trauma Free Tree group. And
Mm-hmm.
if you join today, I'll do my little promotion. If you join today, it's only $99 for the month to join.
Okay. All
And
right.
that's going to meet every Wednesday night from 7:30 to 8:30, and we meet on Zoom. And it was really incredible because these individuals had never met each other before. They just saw each other in these boxes.
Hmm.
And over a period of a couple of weeks, they knew who needed the support that night before
Yeah.
anything was even said.
Wow.
It's the most beautiful thing to watch. They just kind of swarmed around that person that kind of needed the extra support that day. And they
Mm-hmm.
validated, and they said, I see you, I hear you, and I understand. And that group just has done such an incredible job. And I look forward to starting the new group in 2 weeks. So if you guys go to my Instagram page, just click on the bio. The link tree is right there, Trauma Free Tree group. And we'll pack in as many as we can. I don't like to take more than 20 because I really connect individually with each of you. And if we have an influx, then I'll choose another night and we'll get the rest of you in too, because I want everyone to be able to experience it. So.
Well, I have come to recognize, just sitting with you, that you have a lot of people in your life that love you based upon what I've seen on the screen. And they obviously understand the importance of emotions, and they're there for you. When it comes to our emotions, they play a very vital part in who we are and what we do. Yes?
Sure. I mean, there's a triangle that says emotions, behaviors, and thoughts, right? And at any
Mm-hmm.
given time, you can have one lead. So sometimes we just act or we react, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Text message comes in, and boy, does it make you angry. And you don't have a thought or a pause, you just
Mm-hmm.
react, right? Based on an emotion. I'm angry. I'm misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
Text back, right? I'm learning that the pause, you can feel whatever you need to feel. I tell my
Mm-hmm.
son all the time, you have a right to feel whatever you're feeling. You don't have a right to just act on it however you want. So for example, if he's angry, he can go take his Nerf baseball bat and hit the bed with it. He's not allowed to throw something at mommy, right? That's the separation.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel your feelings,
Mm-hmm.
not allowed to just act on them however you want. I used to just act on them real quick.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna take your word for it, but I think I may have to talk to the beard at some point. I may have to get his opinion on how you actually have toned down. But go ahead.
Well, in a healthy relationship, right, you don't just react. You don't just say hurtful things because you're feeling misunderstood or, not getting enough attention, right? So I had to learn that I can feel my feelings, I can pause, and then I can say, how do I get heard and seen in a way that's going to actually open up communication? Now, for those of us with trauma, that pause is real hard because we sense danger, we sense
Mm-hmm.
attack, and we
Mm-hmm.
either fight back or we disengage. We emotionally shut down, we get in our car and threaten to
Mm-hmm.
leave. That fight or flight or freeze, just kind of disconnecting and shutting down, that's real for those of us with trauma. So it really does get in the way of having healthy relationships. And you deserve love.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
deserve a good partnership. So we want to create that pause.
Be kind of awful to be chasing away a good person or turn a good person into a bad person, all because we couldn't regulate our emotions or do the inner work that we need to so that we're healthy. And then we chase away a possible long-term healthy relationship and then start labeling everyone outside of ourselves as the problem. But the problem keeps going everywhere we go. Then it's possibly we're the Kevin Bacon in the situation. So that doesn't mean anything to anybody that's really young when I say Kevin Bacon, but 6 degrees of
6
separation.
degrees, yeah.
Just go look it up, somebody. If you don't know what that means, just go Google it, as the young people say today. I do want to turn to something here. You got to hold on a second here. Let me. Art for Annie. Again, everybody, if you have not got a chance to take a look at her page, she has a coaching page as well. Art for Annie, Anastasia. She says, "Would you recommend chamomile tea?" And then she says, "Thank you." I wanted to get that in. She was asking that question of you.
That's right. Like as a calming resource. Yeah, sure. I mean, I think an important bedtime routine is great for those of us with trauma because what usually occurs is depression or anxiety, right, towards the end of the day. And so any kind of good, healthy bedtime routine that can be shutting off the media, an hour before bed, which is real hard for me. A physical book, maybe, or those adult coloring books, right? Calming tea.
Oh wait, there's adult
Oh
coloring
my
book.
gosh,
Uh,
this is my favorite.
Okay,
So
I'm still into the kitty little books that I can. Seriously? Oh my
this
goodness.
one came
Oh
by
that
stickers.
wow.
There's all
You,
these complex numbered stickers, and then you have to
check it
match
out.
them. You have to match them up to a page to create,
Seriously,
you know.
that's cool. That is so cool. That's way cool. Okay, wait, hold. No, you got to show the cover. Nope, you got to show the cover real slow on the screen there. Everybody can see that, or take a
Pink
screenshot of
love
that.
stickers.
Okay, so everybody can get a shot of that. I'm doing that mainly for me too, but everybody loves it. But thank you for showing that. That's really cool. Anything else? Hey, any other show and tell? My audience loves show and tell.
Right,
So
right.
anything else you got there you want to recommend to everybody?
Well,
Thank
I
you for
think
doing that.
what I'll do is I'll put some of those resources on my Instagram page, Trauma Free Tree, because I do think for us as adults and for our children, adult coloring books, the sticker
Yeah.
books, knitting, anything that you can do physically with your hands that's giving your body and mind a break towards the end of the day.
Hmm.
I scroll. I mean, listen, my Instagram is full of Beyonce and cat videos. Like I just am scrolling, scrolling, scrolling.
Uh, Beyonce and cat videos.
That's about it. Yeah, that's about it.
I
So
have never heard the two go together like that. But okay, hey, you know what? It works for you. But when it comes to a nighttime routine in handling trauma, we need to have a routine for nighttime. Just as we have a morning routine, we need a routine throughout the day. We need to make sure that we have practices in our lifestyle that help us release the trauma instead of letting it stay pent up inside. And before we're knowing it, we're causing trauma to others because we haven't dealt with our own.
yeah.
I've got more to say to you here from the screen. So, here, see, I'm going to say hi to Caitlin too because Priscilla says hi to her. Hi, Caitlin. I haven't met you, but hi, Caitlin. Thanks for joining. Is what I see on the screen. Anne says to you, "Thank you for your advice." Okay, so I wanted you to know that. Genuine empathy and trust in a therapeutic relationship can be far superior than expertise. That's your sister saying that.
That's right. Yeah.
And go ahead, please.
You can have your PhD and be the smartest cookie, right? But if your client doesn't feel that you really see them and hear them and validate them, then they're not going to trust you enough to be vulnerable. And I always say I cannot believe that a complete stranger will choose to just click on Zoom and ask for support. And I'm so glad and honored that people are. But I have to earn their trust. I have to earn the right to go through this journey with them. And they're incredibly brave what they do to release this trauma. And I take it very seriously. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think the empathy and the understanding and the validation is a huge part of it.
And it's interesting. We're looking at a situation in which a number of people are starting to recognize they've been holding on to trauma, especially since COVID has come into play, and they have more time, and they have less time spending going through a secular routine or other routines and being away from their home, and now they're having time to reflect upon their life. I still have much to read to you, so hold on here. Let's see here. I'm going to read to you this. Art for Annie, Anastasia says, yep, Feelings are messengers, she puts in. Don't be scared of them. Invite them. Feel through your feeling, she highlights. It will last for 70 seconds and be gone, is what she says. Priscilla says, I've been practicing more pauses, and I feel empowered by it. And Anastasia agrees with her. She says, exactly. When it comes to pausing, some people, maybe this is their first time hearing it, passing through this live, okay? Well, then they're going to hear more of it because you're going to be back on 2 more times for sure, if not more, as we get over to our YouTube channel. But what I was going to say is pausing is something a lot of people, you mentioned, it can be challenging, right? But it's necessary. Based upon what you said, it's necessary. And if somebody hasn't tried that yet, how can they go about trying that, Amy? The pausing, maybe it's, they're used to being on the go. Green and not the yellow. They either know green or red. It's either green or red. It's either I'm getting this out or I'm out of here.
Yeah.
The pausing, why is the pausing so important when it comes to our emotions? And by the way, you have a question here on the screen that I'm going to be pulling up in a minute. So feel free, if you have questions, either in the comment section or in the chat, feel free to put it there. But go ahead, you're going to tackle that thought.
So one of the Buddhist sayings I was taught was, before you respond, you ask yourself, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And oh boy, is that a tough one. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And if it's not all 3 of those things, does it need to be said right now? Right now in this moment. So what I will do is I will send the text message to myself saying all the awful things that I want to say. And then I will make an agreement that I'm going to do a grounding exercise. And if in an hour I still feel that all those things are necessary to be heard, then I will send it. Usually, almost always, I only need to send a bit of it or none of it at all.
Right.
If your goal is to be heard and seen, you can't reach out with aggression. It's going to just shut communication down. That person's going to feel attacked. Their trauma reflex is going to come in, and they're not going to see you or hear you. So it is hard, but I send the message to myself, and then I will tighten and squeeze my body and inhale, and then I will shake it all out and exhale, and I will walk away for an hour. And then I can decide how much really is going to help me be seen and heard in the right way.
Thank you for the advice on that. And you're getting a lot of love on the screen because of your adult coloring books. So everybody, keep coloring the rest of your life. That comes from Young Joan 63. Children teach you how to remember, and that's a quality to hang on to. So everyone's appreciating, and Anastasia says, oh, yes, I love them too when it comes to coloring books. So your coloring books are a hit. We want to make sure to shake it off, to pause and shake it off, just like the animals do in the wild when they are under stress. You have mentioned a number of different things, but I find one statement here quite interesting concerning something that you just said. If only Beyonce would make a cat video. Want to take a guess who that came from? Take a guess. Come on, just take.
That's my sister. Yeah.
You got that right. That's your sister. Exactly. That came from Jillian. That said that if only Beyonce would make a cat video.
Perfect.
All right.
Instagram post, right?
No comment. No comment. I think you and your family, along with the beard, I'm just going to keep calling him that. Whether and hopefully he's here at the moment. If not, then I noticed that narcoach.ru is here as well. So thank you for being here. Everybody take a look at that page, narcoach.ru, that page as well. Barefoot, oh man, I'm going to tear this up. Barefoot is Land Mama. Oh man, I love the name. I'm just going to call you Mama, Land Mama. Land Mama is here. Betty's here. Thank all of you for being here. I have a question sitting in front of me that someone has. I need to tap on it so I can read it to you. Here we go. Got to tap the right thing though. All right. I've learned to validate myself. So it wasn't a question, it was a statement. Your thoughts on that statement from Young Jones 63.
Yeah. So one of the things that we see with trauma, especially childhood trauma, is low self-esteem, low self-worth, not knowing your value, right? And boy, is that going to affect you as an adult, right?
Mm-hmm.
The career choices you make, the partners you choose. What we're seeing is if you have trauma before the age of 5, especially when so much development is happening, then your
Mm-hmm.
brain is focused on trying to figure out if it's a safe moment, and it's not learning and playing and growing in the way that it should. So we have to repair that. So learning your value and learning your self-worth is some of that inner child healing. It's the trauma work, but it's also learning how to play. I didn't really know how to just play without purpose, just be silly. My son helps me with that for sure. But what do I enjoy? What brings me just joy and ease? And
Mm-hmm.
then with that comes some of the self-worth. Knowing yourself will increase your self-worth, right?
Uh, you I think you have just put yourself in the position to receive an Academy Award for giving the best IG show ever because of what you just said. Three fundamental things for me personally that I've always loved to live by is learning and playing and growing. And it just literally just came out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I really that's what I do with my children. I want them to always remember those three fundamental things:
Yeah.
learning, playing, and growing.
My
Everything else gets in the way of that, including trauma, because our emotions were meant to enjoy that positive roller coaster of learning and playing and growing, which hopefully this channel does that for people. But go
yeah.
ahead, you were going to say something.
No, I mean, my son's 7 now, but I separated from his dad when he was 4.
Hmm.
And one of the first things that happens with kids in divorce is something called parentification. And it means they try to take on adult responsibilities and adult
Hmm.
feelings
Hmm.
too early, right?
Yeah.
And so I saw my son worrying about things like, is there going to be a parking spot? Or,
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
is daddy, going to be able to eat dinner with us? Whatever, right?
And you're
Too many
and
adult
you're
responsibilities.
thinking, why don't you just play? What do you know, let me worry about that. That's so
So,
sweet of you. But at the same time, he's totally missing out on some valuable time to grow
yes.
and develop.
So he had a constant reminder from both of us, from mom and dad. We would say, "What's your job, bud?" And he would check himself and say, "To learn and play and grow." And
Yeah,
I said, "The rest we will take care of.
yeah,
That
yeah.
is your
So
most important job right now."
beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I love it. You're getting a lot of hearts on that uh, from uh, from Anastasia um, Ann says, love this. You know what? I don't even know why I said you're getting a lot of hearts. You're getting 15 billion hearts because they have not stopped since we started. So it's
Thank
I
you.
am like, I am thoroughly happy that you said yes and joined me on the show, but I am very happy that you're being treated like the diva you deserve to today. And I meant what I told the beard earlier before we started. I would love to do a show with both of you guys together.
Poor Nick.
So I would I would have some fun because I'm going to ask him some questions and make you just totally leave the room. So anyhow, what I was going to say is holding it inside. This is from Anne, who you talked to earlier. Holding it inside will just suppress the trauma and is not good for your emotional well-being. Any thoughts on that? Making a statement there.
Oh yeah, emotional and physical health. We know now that stress and trauma lowers your immune system. Like I said, it increases your blood pressure, gut health. It physically affects your well-being as well as mentally. And trauma is going to show up in different ways. It's going to show up as aggression,
Mm,
anxiety, exhaustion. When I'm taking care of myself and my mental health is a priority, I can work a really busy week. I can have a 60, even 70-hour work week and be present for my son, and do all the things, because the moments aren't so overwhelming, because I have that foundation of care, right? I have that foundation of wellness.
Mm-hmm.
So the stressful things that come my way aren't so impactful. So, you know, it's hard, especially for mommies, but everyone, to say, oh, I'm going to put myself first. I always thought that's very selfish, putting yourself first. No, what you're saying is, I have to make that a priority so that I can show up for all the things in my life, my family, my job, my friends.
When it comes to you making sure that your clients, your son, your family members, your responsibilities within your relationship, your personal relationship with the people that are in your life, all of them require emotions, and they have their own set of emotions that they're dealing with. We're not going to even say the T word, trauma, right now, but just emotions. You have them, your son has them, others around you have them. The young man or young lady at the checkout stand will have them. How should we, since you and I are doing this 3-part educational segment together, dealing with trauma, that's today, anxiety the next time we get together next month, and then on parenting. Emotions are everywhere. Emotional energy is everywhere in its varying degrees, breadth, and depth. But you're saying that we need to make sure that we're validating our own emotions and ourselves so that we don't get lost in others' emotions, if I'm understanding what you're saying. We don't lose ourselves, as it were, or
For
sweep our own emotions under the rug.
if I'm not well, then I can't show up for other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm learning also is that I don't have to fix everything. I can't save the world. What I can do is tell someone, I see you, I hear you, I understand. We think sometimes when we engage with friends and family or our kids that we have to fix it, right? Most often, they just want to know that we hear them. Mm-hmm. So I can say things to a friend like, that sounds really frustrating, and just genuinely mean it. And then I don't have to take on the responsibility of fixing it. That's what's emotionally exhausting to us, right? Mm-hmm. My son might be struggling with a homework assignment. My instinct is to go and fix it. Instead, I can say, it looks like you're having a tough time with that. If I leave it just at that, he usually will tell me what he needs. Mama, can I take a break and try it later? Great. Yeah. So we get emotionally exhausted because we want to fix it. I'm not fixing anything with my clients. I try to never give advice or opinions. I don't claim that I can fix anything. We're going to spend time and work through this together. And I have a couple tools and some information you might not have. Mm-hmm. But the reason I don't feel fully drained after being with my clients is because I don't have that lack of boundaries of like, I need to fix everything.
Right.
Just validate them.
When it comes to a part of your statement right now, you just mentioned the fact of having that lack of boundary by trying to fix it. Because in essence, that's a beautiful way that you said that, because that's kind of what it seems like. That trying to fix things for other individuals is really stepping into an arena or part of their life that we don't have the right to do. Working with them, I like the way you say you work with your clients. Very, very important way that you said that. Well, now I got to turn to something. There's a very intelligent woman on the screen that keeps giving advice and mentions a number of things. It's almost as if she's related to you. I see Coach Deb is here. Debbie's here. Thank you very much for being here, my friend. My beautiful friend, Coach Deb, is here as well. Another coach says to you, brilliant, or at least she's saying it maybe to your sister. Let me read what your sister says. She says, so important to mention the person at the counter has them. Remember that before you flip off the person that cuts in front of you. You don't know what they're going through in that moment. That's why I just stay home and I never have to have anybody cut me off in traffic. So I was kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Your sister's making it, Jillian's making a good point there that we never know what others are going through. It's often one of the most reposted memes that people can have. But the reality of it is, it's very important for us to know what we're going through. And the more we know what we're going through, it definitely gives us room to be more understanding and more empathetic. But go ahead, you were going to say?
Well, no, but it's a great point, because when you heal trauma, you build empathy, you build compassion and forgiveness, because you're not in a state of I need someone to see my hurt. I need someone to understand, that I'm in danger right now. That's what your body's telling you.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a level of contentment and safety, you can actually look at someone else and think maybe what they're going through, what their difficulty is. One of the most beautiful things that I do with generational trauma work, and we do that in the group workshop. I know I said it's 2 weeks from today. You can sign up in my Instagram bio. We do generational trauma work, which means you have to look at your parents and their childhood as much as you know. Sometimes we just have to piece the stories together, bits and pieces that we know. You have to look at your parents' hurt, their lack of nurturing, their difficulties, and how it impacted them in raising you. The saying is, hurt people hurt people. So if your parents weren't given the full love and nurturing that every baby deserves, it's going to impact how they raised you. And when you heal your trauma, you have the ability to affect 4 generations. I have seen it time and time again. And I tell my clients at the beginning, and they laugh, but they have the ability to heal their trauma, compassion and understanding for their parents. That changes the relationship with their mom and dad. They're going to become different parents or different aunts and uncles. And then their kids are going to have a different impact on their children, and on and on and on and on. So one person deciding to do this important healing and journey can impact generations. And when your trauma lowers and you believe that you are in a safe space, your eyes open, and so does your empathy and compassion and understanding. And it's just beautiful to watch.
No more crawling into a corner for isolation and not trusting every person you meet, or every sound you hear, you become suspicious that someone's breaking in emotionally. A person can start to breathe again. Because the more that trauma that happened in a moment 10, 20, 3 years ago, 30 years ago is addressed, it makes room for the good stuff to happen.
Yeah.
But more, a backpack full of trauma, we're carrying around things that leaves no room for us to really enjoy a good hike in love or in work or in being successful with our children. You've opened our eyes to a number of different things. But I now have to, we're going to have the show come to an end. I'm smiling because of the stuff that I'm reading on the screen. So your sister's funny, but so are you. And I don't know, I guess we lost Priscilla, but Priscilla was here and she gave some good advice too. All 3 of you are amazing people. Anastasia was here. Anne gave us some great stuff. Young Jones, 63. Others have been here and gave us some really good thoughts. I'm gonna say this to you. Are you ready? I'm gonna read this stuff to you, and you can comment from that. Anne says you've been giving some good advice. Anastasia, or narccoach.ru, says yes, exactly. Hurt people can't handle any extra disturbance on top of their trauma, so they become overly nice to all around them. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Little moments are big moments for those of us that don't have emotional regulation. So yes, we either isolate and hide away, we lash out, or we give. Right? Those are the 3 ways that we find ourselves interacting with people when we don't have emotional wellness.
We have gone over an hour and 10 minutes in about 5 seconds. An hour and 10 minutes, and you have truly been amazing for your pilot 3-part educational segments that we're going to be doing together here on Instagram, and we're going to be hopefully doing more and other platforms as well. As we here at Narcabuse TV Network expand the network and move into YouTube and a number of other places we're going to be doing, excuse me, and we're going to be doing a number of different things over the next few months and years to come. Right now, I have to say on October the 13th, correct me if I get this wrong, by the way, because I got so many dates in my head and in front of me here. October the 13th, we're going to get together again and talk about anxiety. Is that right? You like
Yes.
that? It's my show, but I'm going like, is that what I'm doing?
You got it. You got it.
Duh, is you going to
You
do
got
that? Am I going to do that with you? Okay,
it. We are
so
overwhelmed.
okay, I try not to be because I'll just go take a nap or go for a walk. But and I got ice cream, and my daughter's got me ice cream, and look at me turn into a 3-year-old. Ice cream and some chocolate syrup. So no, I'm gonna have a good day. When I'm done here, I'm about to have me some ice cream. So, yeah, so I'm gonna treat myself. All right, October 13th, we're doing anxiety. October 20th, or okay.
Following Wednesday, yeah.
This is in real time, everybody. I'm going to change this because I don't know why I had and I forgot to ask you that before the show. I had the
Back to back,
14th.
I think. Yeah, 13th
Okay,
and 20th.
okay, 13th. Okay. So the 13th, we're going to talk about anxiety. On the 20th, we're going to talk about parenting or co-parenting in many different situations. Well, you guys will see. I'm not going to let the cat out the bag now. You just have to come back. So we're going to talk about those and a number of other things. You're getting, Anne says, thank you for your helpful advice. She's letting you know that others are recognizing you as well with some smiley faces and a number of other things. Listen, I have truly enjoyed this with you today. Even though I do want to, somebody's asking a question here. Let me answer that real quick. October 13th will be, yes, anxiety. Somebody's asking that in the chat. And on October 20th, we'll be discussing parenting, and you'll just have to come back for that. You'll see exactly what we're going to be talking about there. That's going to be helpful if you are a mom or a parent, even if you're a dad. But what I was going to say, this has been truly fun. You were nervous, weren't you?
I was so nervous. I had to do my breathing and squeezing beforehand. I was clicking on all sorts of buttons, and I
Sometimes I
had to
wish I
squeeze
I
and
could
shake it
record.
out.
Oh man. Sometimes I wish I could record what happens before the show, like a behind the scenes, but I can't. I won't do that because it's private moments between, me, my guest, and myself. And you were nervous.
Yeah.
And you,
Excitement and anxiety are very closely
yeah,
linked. They're very
yeah.
closely linked. So
So I want Jillian, and if Priscilla hears of this, but I want Jillian to know your sister, man. I almost made it so you couldn't call me because I have never had nobody call me that much before. I
am I
was
doing
kind
this
of
right? Am I doing this right? Am
like,
I
I
doing
was
this
like,
right?
so you make sure you tell the beard so that you were
You
under
just have a
complete
level of
control.
contentment I don't
I
have.
noticed that. I noticed that when he came over before the show, and I was going like, okay, I think you're a little excited.
Yeah.
So anyhow, anybody
I
says,
told you I'm a late bloomer. I'm a late bloomer in all
no,
this.
no, no.
So
You did really well. So all of that anticipation and excitement paid off because you touched a number of lives here, and you will come back and do some more. And at some point in the future, we'll do some more things on a bigger stage, bigger than Instagram. But really looking forward to that. Somebody says here, keep it real, girl. You were 100. That was from Young Jones 63.
thank
And
you.
Ann Crosby says that she's going to mark it on her calendar. So everyone, I mentioned at the beginning, you're going to see a number of things different starting today, little by little increments here on Narcabuse TV Network, where we have 2 shows, and you're going to see a number of more shows coming where others are going to have their show on our network. Right now, we have the Narcabuse TV show. Of course, that's yours truly, myself. And then we have, of course, the Coach Jess show. She has her own show here on the network, and that's on every other Saturday, which will be on next Saturday again. So you will see a number of other shows coming your way. So by all means, keep an eye out to know what's going on by checking our Instagram stories. So don't follow the feed so much. You'll get information there, but mainly the stories. The IG stories will always tell you what's coming next for us and where we will be next. Because at some point, We just might be in your hometown interviewing somebody you know. So we have a number of things that we're able and capable of doing, and we're looking forward to being able to bring you as many people as possible, as beautiful and as intelligent and as kind and compassionate as this beautiful woman in front of me, Amy. You've helped a lot of people today, Amy, and I really appreciate that. So much is coming. IG Live is difficult, Priscilla says. We find a way to make it happen. I don't know how, but go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, I just wanted to thank you for the platform and thank you for the chance to connect with people today. It really means a lot.
Well, you were worth having on the show, and the 400 calls you gave me before the show were just amazing. And I was like,
Pause. I can
I'm trying to
pause. Yeah,
start
I
the
was just
show.
reacting.
Yeah, now I know that. I'm gonna start. Yeah, I'm gonna send you something that just says pause and just put it up in your eyes to say pause. No, you were great. You were great, and you did the training and everything right before it. How did we do the show and all that stuff?
I got it done.
You got it all done, and you got it, and we got the show on, and so everybody gets to know that. I normally try to keep that to myself, but somebody told me to visit. What is it? Is that Virginia? Is you're telling me to come visit? Okay, all right. I want you to know I have no problem with that as soon as the government tells me I can do that. So,
We got to get the tour bus up and running.
hey, that's not a bad idea. You just gave me a marketing idea. That's not bad. All right, all right. Anyhow, so yeah, we travel the country interviewing individuals who have positive things to say about trauma and everything else. Okay, I like that. It's not a bad idea. All right, all right. Any last words? Because I'm about to be out. Anything you want to say in regards to your coaching? Anything else people can find you? All the tips you're going to give in the comments. I'm asking of you now to do that when the show is uploaded. Just get in there and talk to everybody. But go ahead. Anything
Yeah,
else
just
before we go?
connect Trauma Free Tree all over the place, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or my website, traumafreetree.com. The 2 weeks from today is the group workshop. I'd love to have some of you there. And you deserve to heal. Just remind yourself that you deserve to heal.
Okay, everybody. We're out. Thank you. We'll see you later. Bye, Amy.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.